call the January regular meeting of the board to order. Would you all please join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome everybody here today. Augie, when you're ready, would you call the roll?
Bruner.
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnham.
Here.
Lawton. Luddington.
Here.
Patrick.
Here.
And Boyd.
Here. We do have a full quorum. Next on the agenda is to offer up for approval the December 5th organizational meeting, the December 14th regular meeting, and a December 27th special meeting. You've had those in your possession. Are there any questions or clarifications needed on the minutes? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve the minutes as presented. Russ moves and Ludd seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Next, we have the claims against the county. Likewise, you've had those for a couple of days. Are there any questions or clarifications that are needed? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to approve the claims against the county. Dan moves. Andy seconds. Any further questions? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. They are approved. County board member claims, you've had those also. Are there any questions or clarifications? Hearing none, a motion to approve. Andy moves. Russ seconds. Any further questions? Okay, call all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. They are carried. Next, we come to the portion of the meeting for public comment. We ask the public to identify themselves by name and stay within 5 minutes of your comments. Are there any public comments this morning? Hearing none, we'll move on to the meat of the agenda. The first one is number 8, ordinance to abate taxes levied for 2022 to pay debt service on general obligation bonds, series 2022. It's a housekeeping measure that we'll probably have to do for the life of the bonds. It's just a backup emergency levy in case it's needed. So, do you have any questions about it? Hearing none, motions to approve this levy. Andy moves. Andy seconds. Any further discussion?
Hi guys.
Yeah.
It says abate taxes on the bonds. What taxes?
Well, if for some reason, the safety tax would go defunct, there's no reason that we think it would, then this allows, because it's for law enforcement, it
Right.
allows for a special levy to collect that from
So
the,
it's the safety tax?
yes.
Okay.
Well, it's not the safety tax, it's an additional levy that would be placed on the taxpayers on the ground to pay the bonds and interest
Okay.
if something happened to the safety tax,
Okay, all right.
right? Mr. Clerk?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch the second.
Oh, that's
Russ.
Russ. I may not have said it, I'm sorry.
I don't know if you had a twin or not. Bruner. Ellis.
Yes.
Farnham.
Yes.
Lawton.
Yes.
Luddington.
Yes.
And Patrick.
Yes.
It does carry, thank you, folks. Next is a resolution to expend coronavirus state and local fiscal recovery funds and reimburse the general fund. It should also say some of the other funds, like Social Security, IMRF, let's see, what is the other fund? Well, maybe that's just it. Oh, Social Security,
Social Security.
that would be it. Those funds that we expend, okay? Any questions about that? Motion to approve resolution, please. Dan moves. Andy seconds. Further questions? Okay, call the roll, Mr. Clerk.
Brunner,
Yes.
Ellis,
Yes.
Farnum,
Yes.
Lawton,
Yes.
Ludington,
Yes.
and Patrick.
Yes.
Does pass. Accept resignation of Kathy Lentz from the Edgar County Board of Health effective immediately. Any questions? Motion? Lisa moves. Andy seconds. Any further questions? All those in favor of accepting Kathy's resignation signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. It is accepted. Next, action on application for restaurant liquor license submitted by Janice Craig, and it's doing business as Kick Stand Grill. Kick Stand Grill, that's the name of the LLC, okay? So, Andy, you need to step away from the table or something like that.
Don't say anything. You want me to leave?
Yeah, probably, just to be.
Somebody come get me.
Well, maybe.
They forget about that all the time.
Don't go away mad, just go away.
Are there any questions? This is on the corner of Route 1 and 36.
Is it in the gas station?
Yeah, and they're gonna put a building up
Or we're gonna
for,
put a new building up?
or they're gonna put a building to the east up for, motorcycle repair and sales.
Okay.
So the main station is gonna be the restaurant. They've got it laid out, and they're also gonna have gaming there. So it's kind of a knockoff of the Smash Burger down here. You can get a beer. I don't think they're gonna deal with hard stuff. You could probably get one of those bottles of wine and
Right, yeah.
a beer, and that's what they're gonna do. And we
Is
do
it
have
in-
the
Go ahead, I don't know.
we do have the licenses available.
Yeah. Is it in the city of Crispin?
No,
Okay.
that's why
An
we're
incorporated
issuing the
area.
license. Otherwise, they would.
Okay, all right.
Yep.
I wasn't sure.
No, that's
Is there
fine.
some of that intersection in the city limits?
Candy Corner, the old Colonial Kitchen is in the city.
Okay.
Any other questions? Motion to approve resolution, please. Carl moves and Russ seconds. Any further questions? Would you please call the roll?
Brunner,
Yes.
Ellis,
Yes.
Farnum,
Yes.
Lawton,
Yes.
Ludington.
Yes.
And for the record, Patrick.
He is
Okay.
not, show that he is not
Yep.
present.
All right.
Okay, it passes. Thank you. Can somebody go get the wayward boy out there in the hall?
We have to.
Yeah, probably. If you wanna know what was said about you, you'll have to watch the film at 11.
But you went out there and go on. It's in the minutes.
Okay,
Watch the film.
we have elected official and department head reports. Monica?
Oh, I'm first.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, just kind of a rundown of our programs. Our CD program is going very well. Our vaccination program is gaining strength. We kind of, during COVID, not as many people were coming in for vaccines other than COVID and flu. So we're happy that the other vaccines are picking up. We are continuing to get COVID and flu shots as needed, and we still get a pretty good amount of those. We did have long outbreaks in our long-term care facilities over the past couple of months. Those are greatly improving, so we're hoping to get all of those closed in January. We did find out though that Carriage Crossing had a water main break is what I'm told, and that those residents have been moved out of the county. So they are in sister facilities and Carriage Crossing is not in operation. And from what I understand, it will be quite some time before they are. So, again, it's what I understand.
Which nursing home's that?
It used to be Life's Journey.
705 King.
Life journey. This way.
Canberra.
Kenton.
Oh, Canton, okay,
Yeah.
all right. I'm thinking Canberra.
Off of High Street.
Yeah,
Our WIC program is conducting in-person appointments now. We do screen for any symptoms of illness, and if they're symptomatic, they aren't allowed to come into the building, so those appointments are conducted over the phone. Otherwise, the people are coming back into the building. And really statewide, we've been seeing that having strictly virtual appointments has been harmful to these children because nobody's been laying eyes on them. We are currently working with 38 to 40 DCFS cases, and we have now 22 high-risk infant cases that we're dealing with in Edgar County. So those are large numbers for a county of this size. With dental, we're continuing to recruit a dentist. I'm happy to say that over the past couple of months, we have had 2 inquiries. We did speak to a lady last week who has worked in public health, not as a dentist. She was a researcher before she got into dental school, and she really likes public health. She's got other offers, but we are talking to her, and that's really been the strongest lead we've had for quite some time. We did just complete a mass emailing for students across several states who are about to graduate, so we've got that all out there. And we are working with the Illinois Rural Health Association. Our dental operations director has had some really good conversations with them and gotten they even shared with her a list of students who received or were considered for scholarships because they expressed an interest in rural health work. So those have been some really great leads over the past couple of months.
Monica, before you go to the next,
Sure.
pardon me, and I think you told us, but I wanted to make sure I understood. If they have a debt for their education, working for you folks, does that, or at least reduce their
It
debt
does.
under certain conditions?
Yes, we are a site, a loan repayment site.
Okay.
So it doesn't wipe out their debt. And that's one of the problems we're dealing with right now is it's gotten to the point that the amount they get for loan repayment doesn't really outweigh what they could go to a private practice and make. So that's one of the real challenges that we're dealing with, but we can still do that.
Is there any way that you might, I know a lot of places are using signing bonuses. And after they stayed for a while, could a signing bonus kick in? I don't know whether it's legal, to help them pay off their debt additionally.
That's certainly something we can speak to the Board of Health about. We would need to figure out where those funds would come from.
I understand, I'm just saying that maybe
Yeah.
that would help you compete with the private sector a little bit more.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah, and that's crossed my mind many times, but I'll bring that up at the.
If it's a no, it's a no, but at
Sure.
least you
Sure.
know,
Yeah.
think, sorry.
No, that's okay, I'm gonna write that down though. And then in health education, we've just got a really great health educator. She's doing such a good job. She has been out in schools doing vaping education and tobacco cessation. So the schools are really happy to have her out there. She and one of our dental hygienists have created a wonderful oral health education program. Every February, we do those in the schools for Dental Health Month. So that's what's going on in health education, among other things. Those are her 2 big projects right now, but she's got lots of irons in the fire. And we are using Paycom, still working out some kinks, but I think that's probably countywide. So I think it's ultimately gonna be a good system for our group. And the health department continues to work with Bellwether, things coming up. We're going to be looking at our personnel handbook and just kind of going through, as I am discovering things, I try to really take everything to bellwether just to say, okay, this is what I now know about this. Is there something that we need to do? So they've been wonderful. I just talked to them again yesterday, so it's been a good relationship. Any questions?
Someone had brought some thought to me that we were, you're hiring for a part-time or a as-needed maintenance person. And they had suggested that we take a look at whether or not we actually need that to be a county position, that, with the fact that we're moving to a different building for an annex, and with all that goes on at the courthouse, and with the public safety facility coming up, that maybe we needed to take a look at a second position and also as a backup. So I'm just bringing
Yeah.
that to the table.
Yeah, I think that's a great item for discussion, certainly.
That the Building and Grounds Committee probably should discuss that, maybe a representative from the health department. Once we've discussed it, we probably should have a meeting fairly shortly.
How much time do you anticipate your position would be?
You know, it's very dependent, you know, so
Mhm.
there are weeks that we don't need anything, you know. We had many things going on during COVID, we had to reconfigure things and, but it's less now. We usually that person usually maintains our grounds, so that, you know, that's kind of incorporated into that. I would say, you know, there could be some weeks that they're there 20 hours, but I think most of our issues have been under control. I'm not getting as many complaints as I was about the building. So hopefully we're on better ground. So I would hope that, you know, we'd be looking at maybe 5 and on the heavy side 10 hours a week. But who knows? Our
Right,
building
right.
is very old, and sometimes it just seems like it's one thing after another.
So when you have problems, you have to call some contractor or something? Or like a plumber or this, or
Yes,
just, you don't have anybody to do it?
not right now.
So you just have to call whoever you can find to come and work on it?
Yes, yes.
So I'm not sure how many, well, we can
And we have
discuss it.
several things on
You know, we've
hold.
got Ray
right
here
now.
and,
Yeah, we don't wanna lose Ray.
right,
I mean, I don't think,
no, he does a good job.
yes.
Trying to just.
Ray, who?
Courtney?
I just thought
And
this
I-
was, when it
But-
was brought to my attention, I'm like, yeah, that might be something that we needed to look at.
I mean, we might not need a full-time person, but maybe part of it, if he's willing to do it. You know, I don't think he's looking for a full-time job.
Yeah.
That maybe he could, you know, when you have issues, Ray could go down there.
Yeah. Or maybe, you know, get another part-timer if
Yeah.
it's too much.
Well, we
And
can
during
talk
the
about
summer,
Yeah.
you know, when we're maintaining,
Right.
you know, that could be
And it might
possible.
not hurt to have another person on board that knows all the buildings, rather than coming in cold when there's a problem.
And when Ray's on vacation or
Mhm.
somebody's, but I thought it was worth, and
Yeah.
Lisa and I talked about it's worth a discussion.
Right.
No,
So-
I think that's a great idea.
And that way we
Definitely
can help
something
each
for
other.
discussion. Yes.
Mhm.
Okay?
Yeah.
Yes. So I'd be happy, you know, once you guys have decided, I'm happy to come to a meeting, Lisa, if you need me to.
Grounds committee is you three?
Yeah.
Usually I tag along. So, but I don't have to.
Probably need to just figure out how many hours total we need.
Let me go back and look at our projects that are on hold and try to get somebody and try to do a better assessment than off the top of my head. I'll walk the building and,
Okay. While we're on the health department, Scotty, do you have anything to add at this point? I would mention that we had approached a couple of people, I think you're aware of it, and both of them have declined. So you and Lisa and whoever need to keep looking, please. Okay? So I just got to talk to the last one yesterday and it's just not gonna, she has too many conflicts, so. I wanted Ross to come in here and sneak in to update you on his report on Monday as far as what he's discovered, as far as some costs.
So, I spoke with Gibson regarding, converting the PRI to the SIPs, and then talked to them about the hosted phone system solution. They said that if we're going to the hosted phone system solution, we don't even need to do the conversion. So, we would literally be saving the entire $900 that we're paying right now for base phone service, by rolling to the cloud-hosted phone system. So all that gets rolled into that $1,700 a month ballpark right now.
So that would be roughly $1,200 off the 1,700.
Yeah, right about.
Yeah. So it would make a lot more manageable to look at as a long-term commitment. That's why I wanted him. So if you had some questions, rather than me just telling you that if you had questions, then you could ask him.
The only concerns that they had were, we need to get a count on how many fax lines. We were talking about faxes Monday as well. They do provide a solution, and they can do it web-based, which provides a secure portal for doing all the faxing, which meets all the HIPAA regulations. So it's a secure, easy, do it straight to the desktop. If you have the document, you can basically email it to the service and it faxes. When you receive a fax, you can actually have it send it to the person via email. So we're basically eliminating all of the toner and paper and stuff that we get from junk faxes, and maybe we don't need the physical copy, it's digital, so.
Monica, if you have any concerns about that, Ross is available
Yeah,
to.
I'm just thinking about that. We've got some issues, so
Well,
we can get together. That'd be great.
yeah, we're
I mean,
looking
this
at
sounds great.
eliminating hard phone lines if we can.
Yeah, that would,
But they've got to meet HIPAA requirements,
sure.
so.
So
Yeah.
your phone system is tied in with all this other, okay.
Yeah.
Did
And
you-
I'm all
the
for it.
only
As you
variation
know,
is-
we're all for doing something.
Yeah, well,
because we
and
can-
currently you're still maintaining 3 physical copper lines.
Are we?
Yes, and that expense is ridiculous because it's business lines.
Yeah. let-
If we could, and by doing this, we'll provide a more stable phone system for you, so
Yeah.
we won't have to worry about, oh crap, our phones are down for a day.
Yes, well, you know how much trouble we've had
Oh, yeah,
with that,
yeah.
so I am
So-
thankful.
Anyway, you guys need to,
Yes.
you need to have confidence in what he's talking about in specifics and make sure that it meets the requirements that you have.
So basically, I just need to poll all of the departments to see who still has fax, still uses fax, still is required to have fax, and go over the solution with them to make sure that it meets all the requirements and functionality.
And just to highlight it, you are still exploring the communication systems as it relates to moving out to the new site.
Yes.
Yeah, so,
Well, I
and
mean,
the
it's-
camera situation.
Yeah, and the cameras.
All right. So those aren't being swept under. I talked to Michael about that situation, and he said, really, we need to start getting into that in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And I did let Ross know that, so it's not something that we can sit on, okay? Anyway. Okay, Russ, if you need to scoot, if you were working on something else, you're more than welcome to, but that's up to you. Adam?
I just found out yesterday, we were approved for a grant we applied for back in September. So with that grant, it'll allow us to put on a 20-student EMR, used to be called first responder class. It's gonna be geared more towards the fire protection districts as opposed to the factories. We wanna get people out there that can provide those services. The fire district is having some trouble recruiting some first responders, so we looked at ways to help that. So we're doing that class for free coming up probably either late summer or early fall. So that is a 20-person class. We got a grant to do entirely for free. Then on the AED front, I've got 25, right now I've got 25, getting ready to put in another order for 25 more AEDs. A lot of those are replaced hospital stock where we need them, but I did order extra. There'll be 5 extra right now. With the next batch, we'll have probably another 10 extra. We will be donating 5 AEDs to community, whether there'll be an application process once we have those in hand, but once I have those in hand, we will be getting those out to community. The issue is, there's 150,000 units on back order worldwide, so they're about a 9-month out. We're looking at getting our first batch hopefully around March, the next batch probably the end of the year. But we will get those out as we get them. Operationally, nothing new to report since Monday, but that's all for me.
Any questions of Adam? Okay. Jill?
Hey, let's see, December, we helped out with the, health department exercise. Trying to think, we're in the process of scheduling our weather spotter course for the spring sometime. We're getting ready to get in the process of planning an exercise for this year. We'll be starting to have like exercise planning meetings and all that kind of stuff. Trying to wrap up our hazard mitigation grant. It's passed, everything's good. However, I think we had 18 jurisdictions total. We have, everybody has passed, adopted the resolution and everything, except for, I think it was Brockton, Hume Fire, and Kansas. And we've been working with them, trying to get them to get it in. So, I mean, it's just them losing out if they don't, but we gave them until the end of January before Andrea and Ken were gonna close up the period or whatever for it, so.
And you are working with your coordinator from the
Yes.
state, IEMA,
Yep, he
on
was just down.
grants and so forth for the new building,
Yep,
correct?
he was just down, 2 weeks ago, I think, right after Christmas, and, yeah.
And when I say new building, I mean the Diamond Brothers building. Okay.
And just so, I mean, I was gonna pipe in, we are one of the ones that are required to have a fax line,
A what?
a fax line. So,
Well, you need to figure out if,
yeah, no, I thought I just wanna make sure you,
right, figure out if that meets the criteria.
yeah, it should, but.
Okay. Thomas, airport?
Got a question.
Oh, yes.
I noticed the warming center, you opened one up down at the old high school.
Yeah, that wasn't us.
Did anybody take advantage of that? Right.
Okay, and so like I said, we've had this big conversation, and coming from a first responder standpoint, like, we are only supposed to open up shelters in an emergency situation. Like, if the power went out, it was freezing cold. Just an actual warming center is not something we do, as part of our response. So, like I said, we were partnering together, and Chad, somebody else had brought it up, Chad got it, Creampton got it up and rolling and everything, but I talked to Terry Rogers, he was having his guys sweep it like every 2 hours. It was open from 8 AM that Thursday till, I think they said 8 AM that following
Right,
Wednesday.
right.
People are bringing food in, and he said to his knowledge, not a single person used it. If they did, they folded the blankets up immaculately, like how they was there, and none of the food had been touched or anything like that, so.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it's definitely a problem, it's but like I said, I don't know why, where these people, they're everywhere, they're at, you saw some at the hospital? Not the hospital, but they were hanging out at the hospital that were homeless, and there was one down by our building on High Street, like I said, I don't know where they all went.
And the community to open their doors up to help people.
I don't know, but yeah, but he was very surprised, and it's like I said, it's everybody, I think everybody's getting a bad, like, taste amongst everybody's like, we don't have a homeless shelter, and that when we have it open and available, nobody takes advantage of it, so.
Yeah. Thank you.
We're on a subcommittee, the hospital's having meetings, then from that broke out like, stuff for like the homeless and stuff like that, I don't even know who's on it, Samantha, McCarty's on one of it, and myself, I think Bob Sinclair, and a couple other people, that we're trying to figure out something more permanent to keep it like, probably within city limits of Harris, so.
Thank you. Tom?
Recreational flying, you might imagine, is a little slow right now, but I do have good news in that for the first time in 2 years, we have a waiting list for hangars. So we're happy about that.
And we're in the process of getting that new system up for bids. I think that's gonna be bid, what, in March?
March.
Yeah. So, and there's some alternates that we're trying to bid to, so that we can control expenses a little bit, so. We'll keep you posted on that. Any questions of Tom in the airport? Well, by the way, Tom does have a new way to get around the airport and move snow out of the sidewalks and so forth.
I guess we haven't reported that, have we?
Yes, you
My
need to
bad.
tell
Yes,
them.
we have a new utility vehicle.
Okay, so, and it's a kind of an all-weather, it's got a top that goes on it, and,
Someplace.
excuse me.
Just no snow to plow.
We used
may
to,
have some.
we had a drift by hangar
They'll
there
probably do a little
when the
bit.
storm came through.
Yeah.
And I think the highway department is gonna be getting with you about the
They
vehicle.
called me yesterday,
Okay,
just got some information.
all right, that's what we needed to do, thank you. Josh, do you have anything to report?
Not for the highway department, but I got an email from Centrica for an update on the VRF system that they're putting on the second story. Supposedly, they said the 2 in the basement are up and operational. They got, of the 6 that go on the second floor, 4 are set up and they're looking to start them up this week. They're gonna dial back the radiant heat, see how that works, and then they'll do the final 2. They think the fence around the units should be up by the end of the month. And after that, they're gonna look at the removal on the rooftop units and putting the roof on. Currently, the grant's scheduled to supposedly be done by the end of April. I talked to them, they thought that's still doable, but we can get an extension without a problem. So they're checking to see when tingling and all that, think they can have the roof done, so. But other than that, it looks like it's moving along. Hopefully we'll get some reimbursement from them on the DCO soon.
Be
So,
nice.
they're being very slow, but apparently a lot of these grant programs are very slow right now getting reimbursements, so. Outside of that, I don't have much.
Any questions?
Yes,
You might pass on to Aaron that I was talking to one of the board members in Vermillion yesterday, and you guys were out there working, cleaning up the gutters and stuff, and they very much appreciate it.
okay, I'll let them know.
And I stopped and talked to your workers and told them that, passed on that the village really appreciated the work they did out there on the gutters.
I'll definitely pass it on for you.
Okay, thank you. Wyatt, do you have anything?
Well, the main thing, I don't know how familiar you guys are with it, but House Bill 4412,
It all passed.
yeah,
The wind thing.
basically, it's renewable energy.
It's
I
good.
can kind of give a synopsis if needed.
Well, yeah, just on the wind side,
Yeah, well, it affects all ordinances.
I know, but I meant those.
Synopsis wise, anybody that's got a more restrictive ordinance than what the state would set has 120 days to get within the state standards. We're opposing it, we do support statewide standards through policy, but it's missing huge components, including nothing directly connected to the AML, which we worked very hard to set up. Nothing, if they're gonna cross drainage district, they don't have to inform them. And nothing about decommissioning or, any of that, so, it was called to reconsider a vote last night, so. Yeah, that'll be a pain in the butt here shortly.
So they expect the governor to sign?
What's that?
Do they expect the governor to sign?
I would assume so. I don't know why he wouldn't. As many co-sponsors, I think there was over 20 co-sponsors
I
that
read
jumped
that,
on
and they all
yesterday.
jumped on the last minute.
Yeah. So I would anticipate it being signed, and then I'll have some further information for you guys, hopefully within the next week, on how to go about that.
And it does affect our solar, I think our setback's what? What
Our
is it,
setback's at
500?
500 feet, and
And
theirs
it's
is
gonna be a
100.
150?
Yeah.
So,
So all the co-sponsors were Chicago, big city people that don't have a clue about what's happening down here.
Yeah, following well, party
In
line.
unions.
It was along party lines,
Party
Carl.
line, I mean, it was party lines from north to south, east to west.
Money talks.
Well,
Man, it was like the assault weapon thing, you know, it's all Olympic.
Right, we
People out
opposed
there.
that as well, but that was a freight train, I don't think anybody was gonna stop.
well, but it's gonna go to court, so.
Right. Legislatively.
And the
I-
last time
it
that
wasn't
was
gonna get
knocked
stopped,
down.
so.
For the city, so.
Yeah, we're working on, you know, once this process gets rolling, we're working on what's called we're working through it, calling it a pro-ag resolution, where we can bring it to you guys can pass it and say that, you know, you support agriculture, landowners, all of that, and that way, you know, it shows that you're still supporting whether you guys are handcuffed by ordinances or not. So-
That would be great to work into the resolution if it comes to pass. But, you
I
know,
know.
whereas we support and whereas
Yes,
this is not something we wanna do and whereas, you know, all that stuff.
and it.
Not that it's gonna change the outcome, but
Right, it would be just a, you know, pro-agriculture community resolution, we're looking at maybe Ag Day, which is in March, just to coincide with that, so. That's coming down the pipe, and I'll have more info for you in February, hopefully.
and we appreciate you meeting you there tomorrow on the broadband.
Yep,
Just
absolutely.
so everybody knows that Wyatt plans to be there with us, so we're gonna be well represented tomorrow.
I know a couple of people asked me, because this, several counties filed the suit against on the Safety Act. And I noticed that Edgar County we weren't a part of that,
I noticed that too.
and wondered why we didn't. I said, well, for some reason I thought our state's attorney had did that, but we didn't.
That might have gotten lost in the shuffle, but
Yeah.
that's determined by him, not us.
Right.
So,
And I said, I don't know what his reasoning was, but anyway, what you're just talking about, we definitely need to get on board with that and show them that, you know, we don't agree with their
right.
thoughts.
Anything else, question on Wyatt, Andy?
Is there any information out there? I mean, there have been quite a few of these windmills put up. How cost effective, how are they?
And it just depends what kind of study you wanna look at, who it's funded by, really. I don't really know concrete numbers offhand, but payback takes a while. I'll tell you that.
Well, I don't know what federal funds are involved either.
Right.
So, I mean, obviously, if they weren't making money and they were losing money, they wouldn't be putting them up.
Yeah, not necessarily even federal, but state as well.
Right.
That's why there's so many coming into Illinois versus.
There's a lot of money floating around out there.
Yeah, but is it worth it? I mean, does it require an enormous amount of federal, state money to put these up? And, you know, could they do it without it?
I don't know the answer to
I don't
that.
know. I mean, I guess,
I'm guessing probably.
I'm thinking the same thing. I mean, you're going forward with this thing that you don't know what the end result is, because I don't know that anybody, I think there should be a study
Well,
somewhere.
they're using the money from not selling gas stoves and gas this and gas that. Did you see that proposal?
Yes, I saw that.
That you can't, if they get their way, you're not gonna be able to buy a gas stove in America or a gas stove. Or a gas fireplace or,
It's relatively vague for a reason when it comes to state federal funding, so.
yeah,
I
it's
just-
kinda like solar. That's been re-energized too.
Right, and they're all LLCs, well, why do you think they're LLCs, so it's,
They can roll.
yeah.
They can roll. All right. Is that it? Augie, sir?
No, I don't have anything.
Nothing?
Nope.
All right. Let's see. So we'll move, did I miss anybody here? Gary didn't call on you. I assume if you've got questions, you'll ask them when you need them. So, committee reports. Dan?
We have a new administrator at the Allen Shelter. Dr. Davis resigned. It's Dr. Hansel at the down the vet center out east of town. So she agreed to do that. She'll come to the shelter. I give shots, draw blood if we have to, so. And it's a very nominal fee, so it worked out very well. But do we have to have your approval to do that? Has to come through the board?
It's in the budget, isn't it?
Yeah, it's in the budget, yeah, yeah.
I would,
Okay.
I mean, if the committee, just to make sure, wants to put it on the agenda at the next meeting, I'll be happy to, and we can back you up on it, or however you want, just
Okay.
to make sure you're good, okay?
And, the new employee, Tony, did a really good job. They cleaned out the shelter. It's a lot nicer than what it was, so it's doing a good job too. So shelter's doing real well. I think I, mentioned Monday that, Andrew, shipped 6 dogs from Minnesota, the adoption agency up there, rescue. So they did it by, like a relay method.
2-hour
Yeah.
interval, or 2-hour intervals, she said.
Yeah, 2-hour intervals, so worked out very well. And then she has a bunch of pups that she is adopting, or, what did she say for Seminole, do you remember?
I don't remember what she said, she's got them all going to one spot.
She had like 10 or 12 pups out there, so she's got those all adopted out too, so everything's going well. Still has a lot of dogs.
Thank you, Dan.
Well,
Andy?
Yeah, all that stuff, but nothing.
There's a lot going on, but we're waiting.
Right.
Now, the walkthrough with the contractors for the roof, for the bid, is next Wednesday at 12:30 here, and Core will be here. And the contractor, they have 6 contractors that they think may be here. 6.
That's good.
It's expanded from 2, but they've got interest from 6. So that's a good deal. So, and like we talked about, the color of the slate has become an issue. They want to know, make sure that the board is, just in general, feels comfortable with the color. We don't know what the original color is to it, and we're not required to go with red. But we want to make sure the board all understands that we're probably going to bid out the color slate, you know, allow it to be like a gray or whatever, not just red. Red slate takes about a year in most circumstances to get. So that would really probably create a problem with the bid and them protecting themselves, and then the expense of red slate since it's such in high demand. So does anybody have a problem with us allowing the contractors to basically use a color chart and say, here, what do you want? And then we can look at what's the most available and what works up there. And we're also bidding an alternative to slate, which looks like and mimics slate, so we can also do that. Has anybody got a problem with that?
I guess I just wanted to, I've been up in the attic, and over in areas of the attic, there's a lot of gray slate up there. Now, nobody just carried that up for the heck of it.
Yeah.
There's gray slate up there.
Especially up there.
Up there.
I've seen where it is.
And there's quite a bit of
I
it.
probably could have done that when I was 21, but
So, at some point in time, and I've got a picture, I don't have it with me, that whole roof line on this courthouse has been changed at some point. And if I'm guessing, originally it was gray, and when they redid it, they put the red on. But,
the other thing is they're gonna allow, the specifications call for aluminum, metal, and flashing and all that, because that lasts the longest.
zinc metal,
Yeah. And at any rate, there are also, some of the contractors wanted us to at least consider copper, so that's an alternate, and I don't see any reason why we couldn't allow that. I mean, we don't have to accept copper, but it does have, it's easier to work with and weld and so forth, and it probably lasts a whole lot longer than anything else up there that we could put, so I just wanted to bring you up to date on that.
Do we know how this slate roof is roughly?
Oh, shit, I'm so sorry.
no. I don't.
What was that?
He never apologized when his bills off.
What
Would it be
year?
over 50?
It's over 50. That roof was redone shortly after they built the place.
When it was
Yeah,
the
that,
tower on the
50
top.
years would be 1972. So you know it hasn't been done since then.
Yeah, it's way before that.
Yeah, even if it was the 20s, that was
Yeah.
only 30 years.
Right.
But
So,
the other problem with working with the slate that's up there is that if you start using a bunch of labor to sort through what you can use and what you can't use, and when you're, taking it up, trying to save some of the stuff, I'm not sure that really works well.
Right.
That'd be very labor intensive,
Mhm.
but at any rate. So,
Then if they keep some of it and not, then if it goes bad, then you're gonna have different places that are
yeah,
20, 30 years from now going bad, and then you'll be dealing with it again.
yeah. Well, you and I won't be,
Yeah.
probably. Yes, sir.
The walkthrough is at 10:30, not 12:30.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's at 10:30. I thought I saw
And
12.
the advertisement they had me rerun says 10:30 on Wednesday.
Okay,
So,
I'm glad you said something, thank you. Now, we don't need to be there, but if you wanna be, it's obviously your choice, okay?
Someone from the board needs to be there.
well, like I said, I think Ray's planning on being there.
Yeah, Ray's there, I'll probably show up. But, I mean, Carl, if
Yeah.
that's your thing, that's fine. Okay. Okay, Lud says no. How about you, Russ? Okay, Carl, no? Lisa?
Yes,
Yes. Yes.
of course. Vermilion County, Indiana Jail, I'm sure that they would welcome a walkthrough from whoever wanted to go over there, because they just had one. My friend who's commissioner had just posted last night some pictures and that they had a walkthrough, they're about ready to open. So,
Is that the one that's on 63?
yeah, so if you wanna do that, I'm sure that they would welcome you. Solar, I had said Monday that, the one thing that I know of that I didn't have done yet was taking the short sands, decommissioning information, and because in our ordinance it says that we'll get an engineer to review that. So, Bob Colvin states that, Chastain will provide the expertise to review and provide input on the validity of the short sands decommissioning plan and financial commitment. So, of course, there's a fee for that. I don't know how we go about.
That's fine, we collected 10 grand from them, so
Yeah,
it's not
so
a problem.
does there need to be some formal, approval? Good, because that would be another month before we could get that done.
No, and Bob called me, I forgot to tell you, bad
Okay.
boy. He called me at home about 8:30 a couple of nights ago, saying, I apologize, I've been in Arizona, so I didn't, but he said I sent a text to you assuring you that they would get right on it.
Okay.
All right?
So I'll just formally through an email tell him, Move
Well, I
forward.
basically said, yeah,
Okay.
whenever Lisa, you need
all
to
right,
get
so he
going on
has the
it.
paperwork, I gave him Svetlana's contact information, and,
Cool,
all right,
that's
What is
great.
that? Short seams? What's that?
that's the project.
That's the name of
Kansas project,
Oh,
why
okay.
it's called Short Sands.
They
I have no
changed the
idea.
name, remember? It went from-
The name of the project didn't change, the name of the
Company.
organization who is doing it changed,
Okay.
yeah. So it's, everything is done with that, other than getting this part finished.
Okay.
Because they're wanting to start this spring, of course.
I have had a couple of solar folks, let's see, Accutech, and of course Eric up here with Angie's cousin, or nephew, Josh, I'm sorry, Josh. They're all interested in the new facility in providing us information on, and funding, there's a new type of funding now for government agencies. Because government agencies aren't eligible for tax credits because we don't pay taxes. But they would figure out what kind of credit that you got, and then the feds will give you the grant in the same amount to help offset the funding of your solar project. So that's available through most of the folks that put in the solar. We're gonna have to bid it out because we're talking about a large amount. Just so you know, if you happen to go through Chrisman, the grade school now has the solar panels up, and they're putting them up at the high school. They've got a fairly small one array out on the east side of the road, right in the middle of Chrisman, right by, just north of the grade school. And then up by the high school on the south side, they're putting in solar panels to augment the electrification and the costs of the buildings. So those are going forward. Josh is doing that one. So, anything else? Lisa?
No,
Okay. Paycom is going forward this week, and they are gonna run it live. Everybody feels a lot better. They've been going through everything the last couple of days, including the stuff with the health department, and everything seems to be where it's supposed to be. The only thing that we're not being able to accommodate is because, and we had the union stewards in yet late yesterday, but there are differences between one contract and the other, which make it impossible for Paycom to do it if it was all the same. For example, the extra pay that they get from 6 p.m. or 4 p.m., whatever it is.
On 4 p.m. till on the weekends.
Right,
Right, shift
those
difference.
things, and then holiday pay.
Right.
They all need to be on the same, and this is something we've talked to Rick about already, that some of this stuff needs to be
Right.
married up, and then Paycom can do a better job of being able to do it, and then poor Vicky won't have so much to have to do as far as manual entry, because the COs and the telecommunicators have it this way, and the deputies have it this way. And so that was kinda important for the folks, from the unions to see, and they go, my gosh, we had no idea. So, and we're not trying to take anything away from anybody, we're just trying to marry it up so it's the same. In other words, everybody should have the same holidays in the county, right? So maybe everybody should just be on the judge's schedule or whatever it takes. But those are things that we need to work on to make it more streamlined, and we need to continue to try to help everybody understand how that works and realize that it's not the old way, there's a new way. So, at any rate, enough of that. Paycom. The coroner has gotten a hold of me and tried to get his vehicle fixed, and it's just not working. I've asked him to work with the highway department like they did with the animal shelter, to kind of get where he needs to get, so that he can get, whether it's new or used, get something that works out for what their needs are. They can't get like Andrea, she couldn't get a vehicle that was real high because it was difficult to get cages in and out and all that. Well, they've got different requirements for different things, but they need the low setting truck or truck bed or van or whatever it happens to be to accommodate their needs. So anyway, yes.
What's he got now? A van?
Yeah, he's got a van. I've seen it. And they've tried to work on it, but I've talked to Aaron and Jimmy, and they're gonna work with him, Scotty, to get that squared away.
Right.
Okay, I just wanna make sure you knew that it was out there. The USDA grant, we expect it to be all signed, the pre-grant, or pre-application, to be sent in Friday. And then we expect further action from them and acceptance. What exactly would
We're
it be?
trying to get the final application in and hopefully locally, I think it's called locally approved by the end of the month.
Right.
To be, not have to deal with it, so it can be waived on the new BA, the Buy America, the new rules that go into effect for buying American stuff it starts in February. 'Cause it
I
makes a
mean,
lot
we
more
still hope
restrictions
to buy in
domestic.
America, but we don't wanna be hamstrung. In other words, it gets into an issue of how soon we can get something.
Well, I mean, they make a lot more stuff has to be domestically manufactured with all domestics, which makes it a lot harder and a lot of more specialty items stuff. It makes a lot more hoops you gotta jump through, and usually some of the costs are more expensive.
Doesn't mean that we're not gonna try
You
to
know,
buy American.
You might, instead of getting 12 items you can pick from, you only have one. So, which hurts you on delivery times if you're trying to get stuff to get it quicker or whatnot, so.
Okay.
But some of the stuff still applies, you still have to buy domestic steel and that kind of stuff anyways, the old rules still apply. They just made it a lot stricter than it used to be.
Audit wise, we're gonna start the audit. They'll be requesting information starting next Monday, and they'll be in town, late March, early April to conduct the audit, just to let you know what's going on there. Do you folks have any questions about anything relating to budget? I don't have any budget reports today. We just came out of the holidays, so the state everybody's behind on getting everything processed. And normally we would have stuff by the 11th, but we don't, so. All right, we need to go into closed session to review the minutes. Is there anything we will not take, when we come out, the only action we'll take would be to approve whatever recommendation we have on the closed session minutes. But other than that, that'll be it. So, do I have a motion to go into closed session to review closed session minutes? Do we have anything else we need to go into for today? Okay, Russ moves, and Andy seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. It carries. Thanks, everybody, for being here. If you have any questions, give us a holler. See you tomorrow, Wyatt.
So would there
Okay.
be?
Okay, we're back in open session,
I'll go open the door.
and is there a motion to keep the, everything closed that was from whatever date to whatever date?
We're just about done with the county board meeting. Yeah, you're welcome to come in and sit down, but we're just about done.
Can you give us the dates for that thing?
Yeah, that would be, since February the 9th of 22 until today.
Okay, that's part of whoever's motion made it. Blood made it, Andy seconded. Let me know when you're ready.
I'm ready.
Okay, would you call the roll on that, please?
Certainly. Bruner.
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnham.
Yes.
Lawton.
Yes.
Ludington.
Yes.
And Patrick.
Okay, motion does carry. One thing I wanted to let you know with the pre-trial deal going on, the pre-trial services is kind of on hold until they figure out whether they're gonna need somebody here or not, so that's kind of up in the air at this point. Because if it was gonna go forward, they were gonna have something to us before this date, so obviously that's not gonna happen, so.
So which room is it that they would be?
It's right here, this one right here. Yep. But we still need to make that available to our public,
Public defender?
yes, so, and his people that sometimes come in, so. Motion to adjourn.
We'll move.
Ooh, voice, that's pretty formal, Danny. And Russ seconds.
Move this.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. We are adjourned.
Hey, Junior, are you open for business? I'm talking to you. Yeah.